Alderman Dan. Sorry, Mr. Hartman. Alderman Dan is already taken. You'll have to come up with a new name for your Zoom in the future. And we are live.
I could do that.
Are we live, Linda, or does it just say live?
We are live.
All right, call the meeting to order. Who's in charge of this one, Chuck?
Yep. Am I coming in all right?
Yep.
Okay. I'm going to try and share my screen here. I guess I should say good evening, everybody. I'm Chuck Souls for the new board members. I'm the Director of Public Works. Tonight, we're going to talk a little bit about solid waste. And I'm going to give this a shot. If it falls apart, Linda's my backup. So let's see. Share screen. Let's do begin. Can you guys see that? Hello?
Not
Don't
yet.
see anything.
Nothing yet.
No? All right, well, share screen. Oh, there we go. You guys probably don't want to see all that.
There we go. Now, if you do presentation mode, you should be good.
Good?
Yep.
All right. So what we thought we'd discuss a little bit tonight is our solid waste services. Back in 2016, the city established a steering committee to develop a solid waste management plan that was attached to the staff report. The solid waste management plan was never adopted by the city. The city at that time did request proposals for collection services, residential collection services, and WCA was the contractor that was awarded the contract. It started in 2017 and it's coming to an end in March 31st of 2022. Recently, we were notified by WCA that they were acquired by a firm, GFL Environmental. So you may be seeing some changes to billing and stuff. The services that WCA provides, they provide weekly collection of municipal solid waste to residential customers. They provide weekly collection of recyclables. They seasonally collect compostable materials, and we establish twice a year, usually in the spring and late summer, early fall, for a bulky item pickup. Just some information, we've got 3,621 residential solid waste accounts. We charge $19.90 per month. Of that, $19.51 per month goes to WCA for their services, and the remainder of that is a fee that the city pays to participate in the MARC Household Hazardous Waste Program. Last year in 2020, WCA reported they collected 3,274 tons of municipal solid waste from our residences, and you can see the 2019 numbers, fairly consistent. Same thing on the recycling side. WCA collected 626 tons of recycling in 2020. In 2019, it was 608 tons. So that gives us about a 16% recycling rate. That does not include compost. In 2019 is about the same for the recycling rate. They've estimated that they collect about 550 tons of compost. So our total diversion rate that we're not sending to the landfills is about 26%. That does not include the bulky item weights that we don't get reports on. We just know they pick it up, but we don't get a weight on that. So some areas where we could see some improvement in the contract and in the services, some improved reporting. Some thoughts that I had was, again, the bulky item pickup. How much does that weigh? How much do they collect? We know they collect it, but we don't have any quantitative numbers for that, weights for that. We get a list of people that call in every month, and I can't remember, it was like 200 and some this year in 2020, but we don't get a resolution. Most of them are missed calls or missed pickups, or they want another cart. So we assume that those are taken care of, but it would be nice to know how long it does take them to respond to those. I guess I jumped one. Did I jump one slide?
Yep.
All right, so how do I go backwards?
Left arrow. On the keyboard.
There we go. Sorry about that. Some incentives to recycling. Right now, if somebody wants a second solid waste cart, there's an additional $5 charge. There's not that many second carts for trash at people's homes, but we could increase that cost to disincentivize people from getting that second cart. Tire disposal, I'm not sure what Smithville does with tire disposal. We could ask for, we could ask them to pick it up with the bulk pickups, or we could have one day a year where if somebody's got some tires out, they'll pick them up. Education, just educating, and I've got on the side of the slide, what's recyclable, what's not, just getting that information out, maybe include it with the billing. E-waste. E-waste is essentially computers, TVs, those types of things. They can be collected, and whether they're salvaged or what they do with them, that can be done separately. And then paper shredding for documents that people don't want to throw in the trash, sensitive materials. A lot of businesses have that, but a lot of communities do paper shredding events, and you can bring those materials and they're shredded on site for whether it's a fee or it's included in your solid waste fee every month.
So Chuck, can we pause on?
Yes.
Just go back to that slide real quick for questions.
Okay.
So one thing I do know, the chamber does paper shredding, but I agree a citywide event would probably be beneficial because not everybody's going to join the chamber just for paper shredding. And then e-waste too. I love adding e-waste on there because there's a lot of it. I know a couple of businesses in town that people drop off computers and things like that. And there are businesses in the Northland that have giant shredders that'll take e-waste too and shred hard drives and things. So I like those too. And then on the education, I know we've talked about the water bill inserts, and I know some of us get those. We're also trying to go more e-billing, right, Melissa?
Yes.
So one of the things I was talking to some folks about is working with the schools to come up with taking that sheet and turning it into maybe a sticker sheet to send home with kids to stick to the trash can, to remind them what's recyclable, what's not, or fun things like that, instead of just throwing stuff in the water bill that becomes more trash.
Yep. Yeah, you could very easily make a sticker. Lawrence, we had stickers just like this that we put right on the recycling can. So people would take a second look at it when they're throwing things away. You can also do fluorescent lights. I guess they could take that to household hazardous waste. A couple years ago, I think Smithville hosted a household hazardous waste event. So, and I know this year with COVID and stuff, I don't think Mark did anything with that. But we could definitely, host a household hazardous waste event, and then people don't have to haul their stuff so far. I mean, it could be done locally versus having to haul it.
Yeah, one other
We
thing.
just need. Go ahead.
One other thing I'd like to see on the list is cardboard collection for businesses. A lot of businesses ask about it. I know it's stuff that some of the Duff and Ball and some of them offer, but right now Mark is accepting proposals for grants, and there's a category for grants under, I think, is 3,000, where like the Main Street group, I've already asked them to look at that one for cardboard for downtown, but also getting that word out to some of the businesses that those grants are available, because we do have a lot of business waste that's not accounted for in this solid waste plan.
I'd like to add
That's true. That's true.
I'd like to add on the paper shredding. I know they probably didn't do it this year, but in previous years, I think it was Clay County themselves coordinated where you could take stuff in for paper shredding at different locations around the county, a specific day, just like the
Yeah, the shredded event.
waste, the shredding event. So I don't know, if we could reach out to them in the future if they're planning on doing that again to try to coordinate one here in Smithville along those lines, maybe twice a year or something.
Yeah, I like lining it up with, because like the bulky trash is around the same time as like citywide garage sale. So if you don't sell it at your garage sale, you put it on the curb. If we line it up with those dates, it makes it a little easier to coordinate.
So some of these things that you guys are discussing can be things that the city can take on. Some of them can be also included that we can get support from our solid waste hauler
Yep.
to do. So I was trying to think, where am I going with this? Anyway, I mean, these can all be items that are, if we decide to go with another RFP, or if we decide to try and negotiate some things with WCA, we can add to the contracts or add to the RFP to see what those vendors can provide as a service or help us provide. It takes a lot to put on these events.
Do you want to go to the next slide? Because that's
Yep.
where I think your recommendations are. And I know, I've heard in the past that the cost is a item for discussion. So I like these 3 items. I think we could open it up here and see what the rest of the board thinks on these 3.
I'll start. As far as identifying any changes, I think we need to be careful. I like what you've presented, but I don't know that we want to see some of those, like the shredding, to be included in the monthly bill that's done, or be very, very minimal. Because there are still people who don't want to recycle and they feel like their bill's too high now because they're paying for recycling and they're not doing it and they're probably never going to do it. So I think those are things we really need to discuss going forwards.
I agree. We don't want to add additional benefits that they don't want to pay for
Yeah,
or can't use.
yeah.
Is there any chance that glass can be added to the recycling?
So glass, the recyclers do not like glass. What happens is when you put it in with your recyclables, it breaks, and all the glass shards end up mixed in with all the fiber, and the fiber has to, it's just not as valuable. I know here in Lawrence, we pushed that and we said that had to be included, and we ended up paying significantly for that collection. I think, does Ripple still have a dumpster out with Price Chopper?
Yeah,
Yes.
the only problem with Ripple, and I think they had approached Jack about this in the past. Our city is just so long, right? But
Yeah.
people are going more and more to the grocery store, but remembering to bring your glass, right? I have 2 Ripple glass bins and I hardly ever remember to bring it. I have to make a special trip sometimes. So I don't know if it's something we can do to get a smaller second bin somewhere, or even second and third, work with Ripple. Because I know the Ripple is the glass people for the Metro. Like that's, but just the
Yeah, I
one.
don't know that I don't think Ripple picks up at homes. They're more of a bulk
Right,
type
but
pickup.
if they could do, instead of doing like, I think they have like a 60-yard or something up there, if they could do like a smaller, like 8-yard size dumpster at like some of the HOAs or some of the more centralized type locations that we'll have around the city.
Yeah. We can talk to Ripple about that. I think they'd be interested. If it's all about how much they get, and then
Well,
locating them. Sometimes glass is kind of messy. If
So
people
I
throw 'em-
I know one place that would probably recycle a lot more glass if the dumpster was in their front yard, and that's the winery. They don't recycle their glass right now. It goes in the trash.
well, we can sure have those discussions with Ripple. So right here, what we're looking to see is how the board wants to proceed with our next solid waste contract. Obviously, there's it sounds like the board's not interested in increasing cost to customers for services that they may not use, like paper shredding. Those can be separate events that the community can hold.
Yeah,
But we have to give notice of if we're going to change service providers to WCA 6 months in advance. So if we, if I'm throwing this out, if the board wants to look at another steering committee to discuss this some more, or if you just want staff to send out an RFP, or do you want us to talk to WCA and see what some of their thoughts could be? We do have a meeting with WCA Thursday morning, so we can kind of feel that out a little bit. And maybe we just need to find out some more information and bring it back again, but trying to get some direction is how to start.
Can I chime in? Can I chime in real quick?
yep.
I'm just curious on this GFL acquisition. Have we noticed that there's any kind of like service level changes or anything that we're anticipating, customer service, things like that with this new takeover? Or do you think it's going to be similar to how they've been operating the past few years?
So we haven't seen anything like that. And they sent a letter that said, and we've still got the same people that are servicing our contract, and we still talk to the same people in the offices, but
And
as far
Chuck,
as I know, it should remain the same.
and I'll jump in just a little bit here as well. When we got that notification from WCA of the acquisition, in advance of that email being sent, our contact at WCA called me to let me know that was coming. And it indicated that their commitment was there shouldn't be a change in that. As Chuck said, that contact remains the same. And Chuck and I on Thursday this week actually are meeting with him here in person just to kind of go through the report and just of any issues we've got. So they are continuing to provide that service to us. And that's a question we can ask, is what can we anticipate there as well? It was indicated to us that we shouldn't see a change.
Yeah, because I mean, honestly, I've been very happy with WCA. And I don't feel it necessary to go through a whole another bid process. They're like light years ahead of who we used to have. And I used to hear complaints all the time. I've had all kinds of issues. And we still hear some complaints every once in a while, but WCA seems to go out there and actually fix the problems. So I really would like to continue that. And then the only other thing I kind of picked up, when Chuck was talking about the extra trash bin, $5, I would like to see that definitely increase significantly. But what I would also like to see is maybe a second recycling bin option that's a lot cheaper than maybe $5. Because I've had many times where I've filled up my recycling and I would have another bin if I could.
Hey, John, I think you can get unlimited recycling bins at no charge.
Really?
On the contract, yeah. Chuck,
Okay.
correct me if I'm wrong.
Do we
but
just
don't
call
get
them up and
charged
say that?
I don't think we get charged for recycling bins, right?
Yeah, I don't think so, but we could definitely make sure that's what I would suggest. If you wanted more recycling bins, it's free. If you want a second or third trash bin, it goes up really high and really quick.
Yeah,
And
I
it kind
agree.
of incentivizes that without, you don't have to pay the extra fees, just put it in the recycling bin. Those things that are recyclable.
So I'd like to make a few comments here. I don't know that I necessarily would disagree with John on not looking at other ones. WCA seems to have done a good job. What about from city staff itself on customers or citizens calling the city complaining about trash service? Have we seen a change in that since we've gone to WCA? Is there any way of knowing?
I don't know beforehand how it was. I know when they call City Hall, we transfer them over to WCA, and like Alderman Chevalier said, it seems like they take care of those. We don't get call from the same person over and over and over. I'd like to see some better reporting on that so we know better, but it seems like they're taking care of the issues.
I do want to add another comment there about where we refer them on to WCA, which I understand that because they're the one providing the service. However, I've always been of the mindset, and I know that that phone call's got to go there, but I'm of the mindset the city's the one providing that service to the citizens. The city's to be the one handling the frustration or the concerns of the citizen. Nowhere else am I aware of that a vendor that's providing a service like to the city, that the customer would be told, you need to call them. Does that make sense?
Melissa, you and I have had that conversation,
Yes, we
and
have.
I did have some conversation with staff, and for the most part, the first time a person calls, we take the information and we follow up with WCA. And we try to follow up in that. We have a few instances where there becomes sometimes a communication gap, and perhaps that resident may not be pleased with what had happened or what have you, then they continue calling. From my understanding, for the most part, we do call that first time and beyond when there are issues. So
Okay.
I think some of that information seems to be limited instances.
And then I want to follow up on the fact that you and Chuck are meeting with GFL, I'll say on Thursday.
Uh-huh.
I would like to suggest that based on that conversation Thursday is when the decision is made whether we need to negotiate or send out another request for services. Based off of that conversation, if you pick up anything there that leads you to think it may not be the service we've been used to.
Okay. What we could do after that discussion is provide information to you all and have brief follow-up at the next work session.
That works for me if I'm, yeah. We have one in March, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm through.
Okay.
So
Anyone
All right,
else?
I'm trying to figure out how to stop sharing.
Linda can take it away from you. Dan Uladol, any comments? I know you use some of the commercial trash services and stuff too.
Well, I use Redgate for commercial trash now. I do need to look into getting a second house trash bin. But I've been relatively pleased with the service from WCA. It seems to be on par for what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, and they've actually had two pretty big incidents near my house. One time they accidentally dumped the whole truck in the street, and they cleaned it up pretty quick. So I think Chuck told him to do that, but whatever.
Because you guys remember the last hauler, right? I mean, they would
Yeah.
go a week without showing up, you know. All their trucks would break down every day. They were just, it was terrible.
Yeah.
I
I know.
agree.
I know. I only know of a couple incidents with WCA with truck issues that I've got calls about. You know, they busted a hose on Manzanola and it drew, hydraulic fluid was all over the street for a while, but it's been pretty rare. And they haven't missed a lot. I don't think they've missed many pickups. I don't get a lot of calls for missed pickups or anything like that. And I don't know that we do at City Hall either.
We have calls, we track those calls, but it's not a significant volume.
It's not weekly like it used to be.
Correct. Well, I wasn't here for the
Yeah.
prior service, so that makes that hard.
Okay. So you guys are going to meet with them, and then if that doesn't go well, we'll look at an RFP. Is everybody good with that?
Is there anything in particular you all want us to inquire about when we meet with them, other than like John and Melissa can talking about that continued service level, what we can expect in the changes with that transition?
Cut their costs, reduce our fees.
Well, that's one of the things, that, yeah.
I hope we can keep just having 3 holidays a year. That's really nice.
Yeah. Is it 3 or 2?
I think it's 3, isn't it? Or just
Yeah.
2, I don't know. It's not many. We used to have a lot more, I can tell you that.
Yeah. We tend to miss a lot of them too, because ours is on Monday.
It is 3.
3. Okay. Yeah, and the compost is nice too, right? I see, in our neighborhood, I see a lot of people using that. All right, anything else?
Compost also helps us with stormwater and keeping that out of the storm drains.
Yeah, absolutely. Alderman Atkins, Alderman Blumker, anything from you all? Business is picking up. No? Everybody good?
What about from the new folks coming in? You guys have any thing to chime in on?
John, I would just say I agree with you. I think the level of service has been exceptional, and I haven't been disappointed since we started. Hats off to them and to the city for selecting them.
Okay. Well, do we need to adjourn this one? Yeah. So let's adjourn. Have a motion to adjourn from somebody?
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Alderman Sarver. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Aye.
Bye.
Go all in 6 minutes. We stand adjourned.
We can stay on here.
Yeah, right. Linda, same one. Yep. Hang out.